Hello and welcome to ECV. My guest today is someone who's going to give us a very, very different look at electric commercial vehicles and the impact that they have to small businesses and people in different sectors that maybe here in the UK we don't necessarily think about. Ajay Joshi studied at the Hindustan Institute of Technology, where he achieved a Bachelor of Technology specialising in electrical and electronics engineering. And it's from here that his enthusiasm for electric vehicles started. So going to go and have a chat with him and get a feel for how the world of electric commercial vehicles is in India. Hope you enjoy.
Lloyd, thank you for having me on your channel. And yep, commercial vehicles, you rightly mentioned. I mean, we have uh, traditionally we would think of the big trucks and the lorries, etc. But yeah, the in the electrical space, I mean, electric vehicle space, uh, um, in India, particularly the options, the running vehicles and running models are very limited. I can spot a few. I mean, just our EES and the Energy Efficiency Services Limited, the government undertaking, the central government undertaking, launched a couple of years back the main scheme to hire around 10,000 lease, basically 10,000 vehicles, electric vehicles, so that they could be further leased out to cab hailing companies like Uber and Ola. So their initial plans were to, I mean, the initial order was of 500 vehicles. I think 250, 250. There were two contenders, Tata and Mahindra. So both of them, I mean, that first order of 500 vehicles did complete. After that, that has been again put on hold. No further orders going out. That's basically on performance issues, and which is understandable. And the two models that were out are Tata Zest, I think it's Zest Electric, and the other one was from Mahindra E-Verito. And Verito basically was actually, I mean, incurring more cost for Mahindra. So famously, Mahindra's CEO also said that we are not earning anything, we just want to participate. Yep, those were two for the cab. I mean, in the cab aggregator space. And one more I'd like to mention, there's the hyperlocal delivery, so especially the grocery aggregators, online startups using. That again comes from Mahindra's stable. The name is, I think, uh, Gusto, I think, E Gusto, or it's E Ventura, sorry, yeah, E Ventura. It's a van, it's a small van. And yep, it's perfectly a passenger vehicle as well. And for these hyperlocal delivery online startups, it was it also doubles up as efficiently as a loader, basically. So For a lot of time, we were waiting for regulations from the government. Now, mostly that part is covered. I mean, government has done its part mostly, and the space is brimming with startups basically. And the old houses, I mean, old business houses, Mahindra has been a player since quite a while. I mean, I don't know if you're aware or not. The Reva, we had the first electric car, Reva, which entered the market at around. I mean, it has been there for quite a while. I mean, it was like early 2000s, and it was bought by Mahindra in I think 2010 around, and it was Reva REVA was rechristened into E2O, their new model, with I mean much uplifts and exactly, yeah, mhm, yeah. Mahindra has been foremost in this, and as we have it due to obvious reasons, the sales have not taken off yet as we would like it to. So that's for the I mean passenger vehicles space because the general acceptance is not that much right now because of the economic factors. And the commercial space was I mean it was drawing some interest from across the board because at least in that space it was thought of that that will be more economically viable. And in fact, in the longer term, more, I mean, economically better than the IC vehicles. So there was, I mean, there exists small for these passenger vehicles. Not only E2O exists in that space. Commercial, as I said, and we have already uh, three models that have come out and doing okay, doing okay as far as an EV is concerned. Apart from that, the two-wheeler space has quite a few entrants as well. Although we saw, I mean, a lot of delays in their launches. There were quite a few startups from back in 2016, and launch of a few of them have still not happened. I can name a few. I mean, the top one, the Aether Energy, and the Torque EV6X. 100. That's a broad subject. Market is obviously not ready, but when we say that, we will have to look at a few factors there. I mean, the speed and range conundrum is the most challenging for them, and the most, I mean, even bigger factor is the charging time. Charging time is the most discouraging factor for buyers, basically, apart from the upfront cost involved. That is for sure. So. Range, cost, and your charging time. All four. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, exactly. So that makes more sense for the commercial players. And as I already mentioned, they had shown interest. The speed range issues are still there, but I mean, the commercial viability, the economic viability is more thought upon. I mean, is more applicable to them. I mean, the current equation that is there. But if you talk about the passenger vehicle space, then because India is a mass market, so we don't see any mass electric car rolling out soon, even if it comes, because E2O was supposed to be that, but I don't see it taking off as yet because of all those factors. Uh, so I mean, having said that, uh, the government initiative that came with the EESL, which had I mean, which were to buy 10,000 of those electric vehicles. Again, in the commercial space, that got hold up because of the speed range, the performance issues, basically on the road. And I've been here. I mean, I've been studying this for quite a bit. I've spoken to some of those startups in the two-wheeler space, and the one challenge that I get is that I mean, the specs are on one hand, they can offer that. They can offer all kinds of, I mean, speed and range equations. But what happens is that the actual performance will depend upon the drivers. I mean, it varies with the driver to driver. So uh, again, when it comes on road, actually, the true performance gets measured, and that is the point of analysis. I think it was 2027 in the beginning. It was relaxed to 2030 now. No more I mean, IC vehicles will be sold. They will not be putting off the already running vehicles at that time, at that point of time. But yeah, it needs considerable investments, and especially the infrastructure buildup and needs to be taken care of by that time. And I believe that uh, the concerted efforts, I think government is moving in the right direction, but it's very hard to predict from now. Uh, I'll give you another point here because this year we are running in 2020, and this was supposed to be the holy grail. I mean, the year of holy grail for EVs. That is, I mean, with respect to the battery prices, there was a prime promise that the battery prices will fall to around $100 per kilowatt hour for a cell. I mean, not the battery pack, for a cell. So that hasn't happened yet. We saw that because India is not yet involved in the production. It has been, I mean, the other foreign players, I mean, Gigafactory in Tesla, Nevada, and the Chinese company Cattle and BYD, etc. They have been, I mean, the major players, and yet we see that holy grail year now seems to be shifted 3 4 years to 23 24 20. Mhm. Yes, exactly. They are way more expensive than an average Indian buyer would prefer. Uh, Even given its much more, better capabilities. Uh, the thing is that okay, uh, for the existing the e-bikes ecosystem, the industry that exists right now, they were all lead acid based, and they were uh, performance wise, they are even not comparable to the ones that are being offered by the new electric vehicle startups, which are based on lithium ion batteries. Although the price point is higher, but price to performance ratio is the most important in the market. So they also they were there was a spike in interest when they came into the market. It was around, I think, 2005 or 15 years ago maybe. So if I remember correctly, so they sold a lot. They sold a lot, but then again, a time came when the performance was analyzed on road, and then there came the stop, the big stop. After that, they are not preferred by the buyers. And e-rickshaws, but e-rickshaws has been a different phenomenon because the manpower driven rickshaws, man driven rickshaws was uh, the hard work involved obviously led to the preference to the battery run rickshaw. And again, it's in commercial space, so the economic viability is better. And the adoption again, there is a slight entrepreneurial and the e-rickshaw uh, equation. That fit very well in the existing industry ecospace. So there was, already an industry, and the shift to e-rickshaws have been quite smoother. It was more likely because of a lower price point and the commercial angle to it. There's a viability angle, economic viability. So e-rickshaws have taken off. If we are to point out any one electric vehicle that has taken off, then e-rickshaws are there. And but they again are for shorter ranges. Last mile connectivity of around, not more than 5 kilometer range. They're best suited for that. Uh, they are basically shared normally. So that gets the, that's has everything covered. From the rickshaw driver and the passenger or the manufacturing company or if you say any ancillary jobs or anything related to that. Everything around that is in perfect shape. So
That's great. AJ, thank you very much for your time. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you, and I hope we can have a chat again very, very soon. Um, Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for chatting to us here at ECV. Bye.
and hopefully we'll again have a chat. Bye.